Aloha and welcome to Spirit Chat Radio. Today I'm going to be talking about 5 signs you're a moon child, or 5 signs you have a moon child. So this could be either be you might be a moon child, or 5 signs that someone in your family might be a moon child, or your children might be a moon child, or your children might be moon children. This is something I briefly touched upon in some other podcasting and other things that I've done. And I have a lot of people that are wondering, when are you going to get that podcast done? So I thought I would go ahead and throw this together quickly for you guys, especially as we've been going through. We just had the wolf moon, and as we go through some of the intense moon phases that we have. Moon child, just to be clear, is different than a star child. So star child, they've had other lifetimes and other galaxies and different things, and many times they are really connected with and feel homesick being here on Earth. They've lived other lifetimes and other planets and whatnot. While moon children or moon child can have lived other lifetimes on other planets and other, different areas, they can also be a star child. Moon children tend to have a very intense energetic connection with moons. Specifically, here would be our moon, but that doesn't mean that they don't also have a connection with moons on, and if they were in another planet or something. But that would be a whole nother podcast. Anyways, so moon children, if you're a moon child, you tend to have an intense connection with the moon's energy, but it's not just in this lifetime. The intensity comes from working with the moon's energy and understanding and connecting with the moon's energy in many other lifetimes. It's not usually just a this lifetime thing. It means if you have these signs, most likely you have learned and trained yourself and connected with the moon's energy in other lifetimes. You've learned to work with the energetic waves that come with it. You've maybe harvested during those times. You've used it to bring clarity into your life during different times. So in other lifetimes, if you have these signs, chances are in other past lives you were a moon worker. You had you used moon energy and brought it into your everyday life, and used it to do whatever you were particularly doing in that lifetime. But you were a moon worker of some kind. A moon worker understands the energy of the moon and understands how that it flows and moves, and understands the effects that the moon's energy has on the physical energy of the earth. And so a moon worker learns to it's choreograph nicely the energies together and know what energies and what times are going to work with the physical energies and physical times, and how to make things flow nicely and manifest in a wonderful way, because that energy can definitely amplify any earth energy that we're dealing with. And so moon children have been moon workers in other lifetimes. So that's something that's interesting. And again, that the moon children are different than the star children, because not all star children were moon workers, or they may have been a moon worker in one lifetime, but they didn't tend to hold the theme throughout several of their lifetimes. So that's the difference for anybody who is wondering about star children and moon children. So if you're a moon child, or if you have a moon child, the energy of the moon basically affects you differently than it affects other people, because you have this history of in your soul of working with and connecting with moon energy. And because you've connected with moon energy in so many lifetimes, it sort of works with your own energetic field, your own energetic spirit body, in a way that can be a lot more intense. The connection's already there. It's already amplified in a way. You are kind of born with it. So it's already, your energetic body's been trained to recognize and work with it and pull it in. And because of that, these moon cycles and moon phases can affect you a lot more intensely. So that's kind of interesting, like the energy waves that we talk about, or I talk about, that come with, or that maybe you've heard from other people. that come with these lunar cycles and like the wolf moon, and how these energy waves can come through and be sometimes wonderful and clearing and clarifying, and sometimes they can be disruptive and intense and have agitated energy. Those cycles that come through are going to affect you more if you're a moon child. And most moon children, or if you're a moon child as an adult, or if we're talking little moon children as children, most of them tend to also naturally be an empath or sensitive. That's one thing that is almost a common theme with any moon child. They may or may not know that they're an empath or sensitive, but it's really super common because their sensitivity levels and their empath skills or their empathic abilities are already sort of heightened, and that makes the intensity of they kind of go hand in hand. One will heighten the other. The moon worker stuff will heighten your empath abilities and your sensitivities, and the empath abilities and sensitivities will bring to the surface the connection that you have with the moon. So they kind of work together. So let's get into the 5 signs that you're a moon child or have a moon child. And like I said, as a moon child, you can be an adult. So it doesn't matter how old you are. One of the first, everybody's going to kind of probably be like, well, I could have told you that. But one of the first things about being a moon child is people who have a fascination with the moon that's like above and beyond regular people. So moon children will tend to have an obsessive fascination with the moon. Many times it has been around for a long time. I guess as if you may have shut your sensitivities down as a child and now you're an adult and you're rediscovering that side of yourself, you may have a recent fascination with the moon. But this fascination with the moon almost borderlines on obsession. So they, moons everywhere. Like they're drawn. My grandbabies are moon children. And I kid you not, I don't care where you are. They could be in a full-blown crying, like meltdown. And all you have to say is, where's the moon? And they stop immediately. Immediate stop, and they'll start looking outside. God forbid you be driving in a car at night and they see the moon and you turn so they can't see the moon. Oh my gosh, meltdown central. So they have a complete obsession with the moon on anything, like TV, outside, moons on shirts. I have a shirt with some moons on it and the moon phases. And man, when I wear that shirt, what's that? What's that? What's that? Every moon that's on there. Also, Lydia's probably listening to this. My assistant, if you guys don't know her, who helps in the Higher Purpose Learning Group, has a serious obsession with the moon and moon stuff. So that is a really good indication that you're a moon child. This obsession and fascination that you have with the moon, or pictures of moons, or moons on things, or whatever. So that's a really good indication. That's a really popular sign. The next ones that we're going to talk about, although I'm going to leave that one to last because that's the way I kind of laid it out. These are going to be ones that you may or may not have noticed about yourself. So you might want to start paying more attention to the moon phases if you have a suspicion that you might be a moon child, because I'm going to give you some tips on what can be helpful if you have a moon child, or what to look for if you have moon children that are smaller, or like things that can help with all of this stuff. So the second one is, in moon children, if you're a moon child, sleep patterns tend to get very disrupted during full moon or nearing full moon times. A lot of these signs that the next couple signs that we're going to be talking about, or I'm going to be talking about, there's that we again, you're going to notice more during a full moon or near a full moon cycle. And the reason for that is because that's when the energy becomes at the utmost intensity, will come from a moon during its nearing its full moon phases for moon children. So during this time or nearing a time of a full moon, you will notice your sleep patterns will get really disrupted. If you have children or if you're an adult, you will notice you will wake up, you will be like almost and have insomniac type things happening during this time, or you're just very restless, or you're just up at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. or I see a lot of people who are just wide awake all of a sudden at 2 or 3 or sometime during the night, and that is really an inconvenient thing, but it's just a thing. So your sleep pattern will be disrupted often if you're a moon child during, right before, during, and right after a full moon, or anywhere during that time frame, where otherwise you might be sleeping better or have more of a better sleep pattern. The other thing, another sign, number 3, would be your eating habits get disrupted, can be disrupted, where you're maybe eating differently than you normally would, or you might be craving different things. But sometimes during the full moon phase, I notice, especially with moon children, like the younger ones, sometimes their digestive system can tend to be a little bit off. So they may have a little bit of a tummy ache sometimes, or something where maybe their tummy is more sensitive to foods than it normally is during the month. So that's something that if you maybe have a child who you feel like is empathic, you feel is sensitive, and they have a fascination with the full moon, that's something you might want to watch for, is if their tummy tends to get more sensitive during full moon times. This is kind of a little bit off the subject of moon children, but sensitive children who have like psychic senses or sensitivities, empathic children, even if they're 3 months old, 4 months old, a year old, or whatever, they tend to have really sensitive tummies in general, regardless. I know I always see that the higher the abilities, a lot of times that they can have more of a sensitive tummy going on. And so that's something to watch for just in sensitive children in general. And a good thing to do with that, if you have like a baby who you feel like is more sensitive to people and their environment and whatever, and their psychic senses are higher, you can't really probably tell yet because they're little, but their tummies might need switching on foods or formula or something like that. So anyways, so you got the fascination with the moon, and then sleep patterns get disrupted, and then eating habits and digestive patterns can be disrupted. Not always in a bad way. You're not always going to have tummy issues, but sometimes you might feel the urge to eat cleaner, or something might shift with your eating habits. And the other thing with this is it's not necessarily like you can be a moon child and not have to have all 5 of these signs. These are just indicators that you're a moon child, just so that you know. Most of you who are moon children or have moon children are going to know, as I'm getting through the signs, that yep, this resonates with me. That's what that is. Oh, I was always wondering. Oh, okay, that all makes sense. You're going to be doing a lot of that in your head, going, oh, light bulb just went on. Okay. So the other sign, number 4. So now we're to sign number 4. You may be, or your children, if it's your moon children, maybe more emotional or sensitive to others or your surroundings or situations during the full moon phases. Slightly before, during, and slightly after. You may notice that you're, especially with small children, they're having more meltdowns, that they're more sensitive to if you have a family gathering, or you yourself as an adult, if you're having a family gathering during that time. You may notice as an empath you're wanting to get out of there quicker, or If everybody has really high energy, that you seem to be more sensitive to that and you just kind of want to get out of the room with the high energy and kind of cocoon yourself for a minute. Um, you know, I have a lot harder time during that time being at parties or social events where there's a really high energy, and it can be everybody's laughing and having a wonderful time, but my time frame for being around that high energy, it definitely shortens during the full moon phases. It definitely shortens, and I'll just sort of disappear off into another room sometime because I just need to separate myself from the high energy because it becomes overwhelming for me. And so that can be, if you're that way or you have children that way, if they might be at a birthday party or something, when that energy becomes so intense because they're around the high energy of the situation or the people or whatever, they can get overwhelmed to where they have meltdowns and cry or just be like, oh my gosh, the whole world's ending and because I couldn't do this thing or whatever. You know how that goes. So if you're finding that you're more emotional or your children are more emotional or sensitive to other surroundings and situations during a full moon time, it's a pretty good indication that you're a moon child. The last one might seem also self-explanatory, but there's a reason for this, which then I'm going to get into the positive aspects of being a moon child and how you can utilize these skills, but basically also how you can make yourself more comfortable during these times. And that would be the fifth sign would be the urge to find and enjoy and seek out full moons, or take pictures of the full moon. To actually physically be outside, the urge to be outside and look for the full moon, or like if you're like freezing to death in the Midwest or something, like to find it in your window and just like enjoy staring at it and enjoy observing it and really just enjoy the essence of being able to see the full moon, or wanting the urge to take pictures of it and sort of bask in the full moon energy, which people don't realize that that's what they're doing, but that's really what you're doing is if you find the full moon and you just get that feeling of zen and relax in the chest center of your body, your chest area, and it kind of goes, you'll feel it go into your arms, you'll feel it go into your legs, and it's a very zen, euphoric, nice vibe feeling just by staring at it. That is definitely another indication that you're a moon child, and that it's, like I said, it's the urge to find, enjoy, and just bask and stare at the moon and allow that to connect with your energetic system, because that's what happens, and that's why you have the urge to find and seek out the full moon, because when the full moon energy is intense, that's actually a time of, even though that you might be having the meltdowns and the oversensitivities, that's the energy surrounding you. But when you really tune into the full moon, that's it helps to balance and clear your energetic body. So that would be why you have the urge to seek out and just sort of bask in it and enjoy it and stare at it and just relax in the presence of a full moon, because you're allowing your energetic body to recharge, you're allowing it to rebalance with the energy of the moon, you're allowing it to clear of any other energies that you're picking up. So that's why you have the urge. So that's why your children may have the urge. That's why with the grandbabies and even just with us, because I love to go out and just hang with the full moon around here. When it's out, you just go out and just enjoy it and stare at it and walk around it and just sit and just observe it. It's really the most zen feeling when you're a moon child. So during any full moons, how can you make your children or yourself, if you're a moon child, feel more comfortable during these times, because you can have these sleep patterns get disrupted. You can have the eating patterns change, and then you can have the sensitivities. More so, the sensitivities to others in the surrounding areas are kind of the vibration and in the way that other people's energetic body reacts in combination with the high vibe energy of the moon. So if they're not moon children, they don't always tend to have a calming feeling when the full moon comes around, or a balanced feeling. They don't tend to be more energized. They can sometimes become more aggressive. Their behaviors, and it's kind of like if you take different combinations of, I'm trying to think of something, like take different combinations of, I'm going to mix these ingredients together and I might come up with something really good, or I'm going to mix these ingredients together and wow, that does not taste very good at all. When you're a moon child and the full moon comes around, that's like the reason that you have disruptive sleep patterns is because the full moon energizes you. You have more energy, and it tends to be more intense at night. So that's why you're getting disruptive sleep patterns, is because the charge that you're getting from the full moon is pretty intense. You're getting a lot more energy. The reason that you're maybe more emotional or sensitive to others and your surroundings, is because their chemistry, their energetic chemistry with the moon, may be very different from yours, in a way that their combination causes them to be more aggressive and more intense in a way that is not calming to you. So where you're finding a calming, that's your most calming, most energized, balanced feeling, is during the moon time. Other people are behaving differently. You're also more open at that time, which I'm going to get into. That is a strong time for you to gain clarity. It's the heightened time for you for your abilities, for your psychic abilities, for your empath abilities. Those senses tend to heighten. So when you're around others who are not as balanced with the moon energy, it becomes overwhelming because you feel it tenfold. So you feel it way more intense as a moon child than you would if you weren't a moon child, and it can make you want to be introverted or move out away from those people. So awareness is key. Is if you're wondering, well, some of these, I'm noticing that I have disruptive sleep patterns every once in a while, or the eating habits, it seems to be once a month, but I'm not really sure when that's happening, or I did kind of have a meltdown a few weeks ago. I guess it does look like that it was on the calendar. So if your awareness is key. So the first thing that I would suggest is, I've talked about this before, but we all have the moon app, because even if we're not paying attention to it, we know the signs. And the signs are us or babies start not sleeping very well. They start having maybe tummy stuff, or meltdowns start happening. And these are things that, oh, yep, you got to check the moon phases and see, that's the first thing we want to eliminate to see if there's another issue. So I would suggest downloading the moon app, and then I would suggest keeping a moon journal. And by moon journal, basically mean start charting how you're feeling during and around the full moon, but also maybe just start charting how you're feeling and then check to see if it's a full moon. I don't care how you do it. You can do it one way or the other. But awareness is really important. How sensitive are you becoming around the full moon? Are you having any of these signs or signals? The reason that that's important is because that's a good time that you need to do some other things. One is that's a good time for you to take grounding very seriously. Because the moon energy can become really intense, especially if you're a moon child, you want to be very aware and very conscientious of grounding, because the moon energy will naturally pull your spiritual body and raise your vibration higher. And so without you even making much effort to do that, it's going to naturally do that for you, which is why you get a little bit raw and sensitive to others in your surroundings. So it automatically does that. So you're going to want to make sure that you do the balance of making sure that you're also grounding, since that's going to happen automatically. The other thing is, for those of you who want to take advantage of being a moon child during the full moon, if you're older, is that's a great time to really be doing intention meditations. That's why there's all those full moon rituals. That's why you've potentially been a moon worker in the past, is because this is a really good time to use the intensity of the moon energy with intention meditations or anything like that, that amplifies your meditation in the first place, like by 3 times. So, like, imagine that it quadruples your, well, wait a minute, that's more than 3 times. But anyways, so just imagine that it triples or quadruples your the energy of the meditation that you're doing. It's a really great time to do that if you're a moon child. During the full moon, probably surprisingly to some people, you actually have higher spiritual protection during that time. Any moon children will have a higher protection on around them, because when the moon energy connects with your spiritual energy, it makes a powerful buffer. While it raises your vibration, your vibration raises, and it naturally creates a strong buffer then. So it's between you and other spirits. So while you may want to use this time to connect with spirits, because this is a very good time to learn and work with spirit communication. It's a very good time to ask for guidance from your spirit guides, or learn to connect with your spirit guides. The protection is higher, so that's a good time. However, definitely make sure that we're asking for protection and using the proper protection always. Doesn't matter what moon phase you're in, always, 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 always use your protection prayers and all of that kind of stuff. But your protection is higher during that time, so it's a nice time to connect with spirits and connect with your guides, because you have all this stuff going on. Your vibration is raising naturally. You've now aligned and connected with moon energy without really trying, like making a whole bunch of effort. Like, it's just naturally going to happen. And because you're getting a natural boost, I would say, that's a great time to do those things. Also, because of those things that I was talking about, that's when many people will get clarity on things that they're wanting to know or asking about. So it's a good time to practice your intuitive clarity and ask intuitive questions on maybe what you should be doing with certain things. It brings about clarity when the moon is at its intense phase. It really can help with the clarity, because the full moon brings about clearing. The full moon's all about clearing. It's going to help clear any of your intuitive fog. It's going to help with your energetic fog. It's all about clarity. It's all about really re-energizing powerfully and clearing any of the junk that you've kind of collected during the month. And so you've got this powerful manifestation and tension energy that comes with a full moon. You've got this clearing energy that comes with a full moon. And you've got this clarity that can come with a full moon. And your natural ability to connect with that if you're a moon child is a triple threat. It's awesome. So then the last thing that I would think that people would like to do, besides you want to have the awareness, you want to make sure that you're doing the grounding. Intention meditations are good to be during this time. Protections are higher, so good time to connect with spirits and your guardian, your spirit guides, or even guardian angels. And it's also a good time to connect in with your intuition and get clarity on things that you may be wondering. It's a good time to clear the energetic body. It's a good time to clear yourself. So you know how people set crystals outside during moon phases, and that's why they do it? Just think about it. It's in perfect alignment. It clears your energetic body as well. So that's a good time to spend some time basking in full moon energy. Whether, like I said, if it's cold, you can do it by a window. Just spend some time sort of meditating, connecting, feel that connection with the full moon energy. or just if it's nice out, to actually be outside and connect with the full moon energy, because it will help to do clearing on the body, and it will help to balance the energetic body. So those two things are really important. So anyways, hopefully you found this helpful on the 5 signs that you are a moon child or have moon children. Like I said, the key is to pay more attention and understand, have more awareness, have awareness and understanding that you were potentially, or your children were potentially moon workers. They understand and work with, even if they're not remembering their past lives. Have a lot of knowledge of working with moon energy, and that your own energy is going to be raised during that time. And when it's naturally raised, things happen to your physical body, like the sleep stuff and the eating and the being sensitive to others. But then there's the good side of it's a good time to take advantage of clearing your energetic body and seeking out the moon and really connecting with it and using intention meditations and really connecting in with your intuition and your guides and and different things of that time. So there are pros and cons to it. The physical body reacts a certain way, but your intuitive body and your moon knowledge that you have deep inside you can really work with the moon energy in a really amazing way. So hopefully you enjoyed this podcast. As always, don't forget to subscribe to YouTube or iTunes, whatever you're listening to. And I'll be doing another podcast soon on answering some more questions out of the Higher Purpose Learning Group. So if you're not in it, I'll leave the link below, or you can Google it, Higher Purpose Learning on Facebook. It's the private community, spirit community that I've created so that people can talk about, the stuff that they're learning and what phase they're in, and share stories and get support. And it doesn't have to be friends or family that make you feel weird or judged. And it's a super supportive group. It's awesome what's going on over there. And I have some really good stuff on another podcast coming up soon on actually what happens when you're sharing about sharing your spiritual journey, and how it kind of can affect others, and how others are not really open to your spiritual journey and what's going on. So I have some really good stuff coming up because of somebody who had mentioned something in the Higher Purpose Learning Group again. So good podcasting stuff going on over there. Anyways, if you want more information on readings or other stuff, you can go over to keystothespiritworld.com. Don't forget to get on my email list over there if you go there, because I do run specials on all kinds of things. And I got some cool giveaways and some interesting stuff that'll be coming up. And I think I'm going to be creating a new website as well with some cool stuff on there. So until next time, don't forget to stop over and join us at the Higher Purpose Learning Group, Keys to the Spirit World. Oh, and the Metaphysical Store. If you need gemstones or jewelry or anything like that, spiritualgurubox.com. I will throw the links up below. All right. Have the most amazing day. Aloha.